It began with a sound, not a crash, not a thud, but something in between. A ripple in the air, like reality itself hiccuped. I jolted awake, heart hammering, eyes adjusting to the dim blue glow of the nightlight by my desk. And then I saw her. A figure stood in the corner of my room, tall, trembling, silver-skinned, and breathing like she had just run a marathon through space. Her eyes glowed faintly turquoise, and for one wild second, I thought I was still dreaming. I wasn't. The beginning. My name's Ethan Cole, 28 years old, aerospace engineer, recently laid off from the Armstrong Orbital Project. I lived alone in a rented flat near the coast, surrounded by boxes of dismantled drones and unopened bills. I wasn't expecting company. Certainly not a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a nebula. She clutched her side, panting, muttering something in a language that sounded like broken wind chimes and electric static. Then she looked at me, really looked at me, and the fear in her gaze was unmistakable. I stood frozen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Her clothes shimmered like liquid metal, torn at the edges. Her hair was pale as moonlight, damp and matted with what looked like stardust. When I finally found my voice, it came out a shaky whisper. Who are you?" She winced as if my words were knives. "Who, man?" she said slowly, like she was testing the syllables. Then she collapsed. Middle. The stranger among us. I dragged her onto my bed and checked her pulse. Faint, but there. Her skin was warm, softer than it looked, with a faint iridescent sheen. When I turned her over, I saw it, a wound just below her ribs, glowing faintly blue. Not blood. Something else. Energy, leaking from her like light through cracked glass. I did what I could, bandaged her with a towel, wrapped it tight, and prayed she wouldn't die on me. By morning, she was awake. She sat upright, eyes darting around my room, taking in the cluttered shelves, the half-eaten ramen, the posters of Mars colonies. When our eyes met again, she spoke clearer than before. "Where is this?" "Earth," I said hesitantly. "You're safe, I think." She blinked, processing that. "Earth," she repeated, almost reverently. "I made it." That sent a chill down my spine. "Made it? From where?" She hesitated, then said, "The Eric system. My ship was destroyed. They are coming." I frowned. "Who's coming?" Her expression hardened. "Hunters. They will track the breach. They never let anyone live." That was the first time I realized this wasn't some delusion or dream. The fear in her eyes was real. The wound, the light, all of it. And if what she said was true, someone or something was coming for her. The secret she carried. Over the next day, she learned to speak better. She picked up words fast, listening, watching, mimicking like a child but with eerie precision. Her name was Lyra. She said she was part of a royal envoy, or what used to be one, from a coalition beyond our solar rim. Her people had once ruled entire star clusters, but were now hunted by a species called the Draxan, a predatory empire that devoured civilizations for their technology. When her ship entered our system, she tried to hide in the asteroid belt. The Draxan found her anyway. She used a phase beacon, a device that let her fold through space, and it must have malfunctioned, because instead of teleporting across her ship, she landed in my bedroom. Lucky me. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? I told her she could stay, just until she healed, but she warned me. They will come. They always follow the beacon signature. That night, she sat by the window, staring at the stars. "Your world," she murmured. "It's beautiful. So quiet. So unaware of what waits beyond." Her voice was heavy with sorrow, and I felt a pang of something I couldn't quite name. Pity, maybe. Curiosity. Or something more human, the pull of connection. The first attack. 3 nights later, I found out she wasn't exaggerating. It was close to midnight when my power flickered. Then my entire building shook. I ran to the window just in time to see a black triangular craft hovering silently above the city skyline, sleek, predatory, with no visible engines. Lyra's face turned pale. Draxon Scout. Before I could react, she grabbed my hand. We must go. She led me to the alley behind the complex, moving with supernatural speed despite her wound. Her skin flickered faintly under the streetlights, some kind of adaptive camouflage. A bolt of energy hit the pavement behind us, sending debris flying. What are they using? I shouted. Plasma tracers. They can track energy signatures, especially mine. Then we hide. There is nowhere safe, she said grimly, except underground. So we ran. Down into the subway tunnels. Into the dark. I could hear the city above, sirens, screams, the low hum of that alien craft searching. When we finally stopped, both of us gasping for breath, Lyra looked at me, really looked at me and said, "You did not have to help me, Ethan Cole." "I couldn't just let you die," I said. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, softly, "No one has ever said that to me before." Middle turning point. The gift. We hid in an old maintenance tunnel for hours. When dawn came, Lyra grew weaker. The blue light beneath her skin dimmed, pulsing slower. "What's happening to you?" I asked. "My core energy, it's fading. The wound disrupted my life thread." I looked around desperately. My phone battery was dead, my supplies minimal. But then I remembered something, an experimental power cell from one of my old engineering projects. It was crude, unstable, but it generated energy similar to what flowed through her veins. I pulled it from my bag. Would this help? Her eyes widened. "That is human-made?" "Yeah. Prototype fusion cell." She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "You truly do not understand what you hold. Try me." She took my hand, guiding the cell toward her wound. Light burst from her chest, not violent, but radiant, filling the tunnel with a soft blue glow. Her breathing steadied. When she opened her eyes again, they were brighter than before. "You gave me life," she whispered. "Do you understand what that means, Ethan?" I shook my head, unsure. "In my culture," she said, "to give one's life back is to bind souls. It is called the giving. You have offered me a part of yourself." She touched my chest gently. "By our law, I am now yours." My heart skipped. "Wait, I didn't." Her smile deepened, mysterious and soft. "You cannot undo it, human. Where I am from, such acts are sacred. The war arrives." We didn't have much time to process it. The next evening, the Draxon came in force. Dozens of small craft appeared in the sky, invisible to radar but not to the naked eye. I saw them through the news footage, glowing streaks like shooting stars moving upward, not down. Lyra stood by my window, calm and resolved. "They have come for me, and now they will burn your world to find me." Then we stopped them. She turned toward me, eyes shimmering. "You would fight for a stranger?" I smiled grimly. "You're not a stranger anymore." She placed her hand on my shoulder, and for the first time, I felt a surge of energy course through me. She was sharing something. Power. "Then we fight as one." The next few hours were chaos. We made our way to an abandoned airfield, one I used for drone testing. Lyra modified my drone swarms with alien circuitry she pulled from her damaged armor. When the Draxon descended, the skies erupted. My drones swarmed like angry hornets, disorienting their cloaked ships, while Lyra used her restored energy to fire concentrated plasma bolts. It wasn't enough to win, but it was enough to send a message. A massive ripple opened in the sky, a Draxan war cruiser, blotting out the clouds. Lyra's face hardened. That is their commander. If I surrender, they will leave your planet. I'm not letting you go. You already gave me your life, she said softly. Do not throw it away too. Before I could stop her, she stepped forward, rising into the air in a column of light. The Draxan ships paused, recognizing her signal. I shouted her name, but she was gone, swallowed by the ship's gravity well. The ending. The promise kept. Weeks passed. The world never learned what really happened that night. The government called it a meteor storm. I went back to my apartment, but everything felt emptier. Until one night, I woke to that same ripple in the air. She was back. Lyra stood in the corner of my room again, this time uninjured, radiant, wearing armor that shimmered like dawn. You're alive, I breathed. I am, she said. Because of you. The Draxan are gone for now. My people answered my beacon. She stepped closer, her voice gentler than I remembered. You gave me your life once. Now I return it. She touched my chest, and warmth spread through me, steady, peaceful. What was that? I asked. A bond completed. You are now known among the stars, Ethan Cole, the human who gave life to a queen. I blinked. Queen. She smiled faintly. You never asked who I truly was. And then, softly, almost teasingly, in your human words, Ethan, you could say you are engaged to someone who owns half the galaxy. My jaw dropped. Wait, what? She laughed, a sound like wind through crystal. Do not worry. It was not a proposal. She paused, then added, with a mischievous tilt of her head, not yet. The ripple began again, light wrapping around her form. Will I see you again? I asked. Her voice echoed through the fading light. You already do, Ethan. Every time you look at the stars. And then she was gone. But that night, as I stood by my window, staring at the sky, I saw a faint shimmer among the constellations, like a promise written in starlight. And I knew, somehow, she would be back.